foster care, you can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic.
I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's voice with Drew Steele.
I'm sorry. What's the matter with you people? Not you that's watching or listening right now. FL Voice News, at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, or X. Not you. Not people that are listening to our great affiliates across the state of Florida. This is Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Not you. I'm talking to you, Florida Democrats across the country, you lefties. What's the matter with you? What do you not learn the lessons of an election? Why do you keep doing what you do? Stop it. I'm sorry. I hate to start this way, but I just have to say, before I went on the air, I'm looking at this post that popped up. Colin Rugg, who is a great follow on X, and he posted what was going on this morning on The View. And on The View this morning, Alyssa Farr is trying to explain to the ladies on The View that, look, there's a lot going on here that you just don't seem to want to admit. I mean, what's going on there in Texas? Listen to this.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border crisis is on their doorstep.
So
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some lessons.
That's what that was.
No, the reason why it was misogyny and sexism. That's why, because 97% of the Latinos 75% of the Latinos in the 97% district there in Texas are misogynist and sexist. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Stop it. They can't help themselves. How are you today, Big D? How's it going? Are you all right? I'm worried about you. Are you okay?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm really not worried about you. I just know that you're worried about me. Because that's what happens. This stuff pops up and you're like, what's going on? How is it that you're acting this way? I don't understand. Just stop with the nonsense. All right. I mean, there are people that are talking, again, more people talking about leaving the country. I got to get out of here. I got to leave the country. I've got to get out. I got to do all these great. I don't know what to do. I'm going to leave. All right. Go. We'll help you.
Do you plan on leaving the country because he who can't be named won the election?
Yes.
Well, I can help. I'm Lee V to Country, and I want to sell your home. I know you've said it before, but this time you really mean it. Let's sell that house. And at this point, who cares about top dollar? You just need to get out and fast. Visit my website, www.cryittleharderdoucrazylefty.net.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't know. We probably shouldn't do that because there's some really disturbing things that are going on. And later on in the program, I really want to dig into this because what's going on in some areas around the country is really sad. Around the state is nutty. It's scary. It's sad. I don't want to see any more young girls crying on social media about Donald Trump winning the presidency and all the horrible, terrible things that are going to happen and crying and sobbing like it is, and it's not. And how did this happen? All right, we'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. By the way, anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. We do have a number. We do have that live for you 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day. So if you're feeling like calling and commenting on anything that I'm talking about, cool. I would love to hear from you wherever you are across the state of Florida. All right, so a couple of things that are going on. In case you didn't know, earlier today, Joe Biden spoke from the Rose Garden. It's kind of sort of his bye-bye.
True international average of pressure.
Oh, I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that. How long can I do that? I wonder how long I get to play that. Anyway, so there's Joe, who wanted to speak to a cheering audience of people that work for him. Of course, they're going to cheer and and everything else, and probably hold the teleprompter up and make sure that it's functioning properly. Because if it goes down, oh boy, nobody knows what's going to happen.
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
It could. All right. So what did Joe have to say from the Rose Garden today in his bye-bye?
Over 200 years, America has carried on the greatest experiment.
And he should know. He was there since the beginning, right?
Self-government in the history of the world.
Yes.
And that's not hyperbole. That's a fact.
Yeah.
We're the people. The people vote and choose their own leaders, and they do it peacefully.
Yeah, they do.
And we're in a democracy.
Yeah.
The will of the people always prevails.
And by the way, we're a constitutional republic. We're not really a democracy, but I get what you're trying to say about democracy, and it doesn't fail, and the people's voice doesn't fail, and whatever the people say goes, unless, of course, there's like 14 million more votes than there should be human beings that would be able to. I don't know. There's a 14 million number that's out there. That's a really weird number that we're going to get to in just a second. So tuck away the 14 million number. Big D, do you have the 14 million tucked away? Can I hear the sound effect of you tucking away the 14 million number? Let me hear you. Tucking it away. There he goes. There's D. What was that? It sounded like you made a funny noise with your mouth.
Tucking it away, Drew.
No. That was a funny noise you made with your mouth. That was not a really good rendition there. We got to work on that. All right.
Thank
his
you.
tucking. All right. Well, anyway, he's working on his tucking noise. All right. So there was that. What else did Joe Biden say?
I spoke with President-elect Trump
Good.
to congratulate him on his victory.
Yes.
And I assured him that I'd direct my entire administration to work with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition.
Yes, the peaceful and orderly transition, his team to Trump's team. Now, listen, I don't want to be mean or anything, but can we get some observers to get in there maybe early on to make sure that the transition from Biden in the White House and the people to Trump's family and people in the White House. Can we just check on stuff? Because I'm not saying like W's would be missing from computers or anything like that, or weird stuff that would happen, or I don't know. I'm just saying that, sometimes there are people that like to pull pranks, and not necessarily fun pranks, kind of like vindictive ones. No. It's just me. It's just me talking. So just send your cards and letters, care of Big D. Then he'll file them in here's the mail stuff. All right, so it'll be fine. Everything's going to be good, peaceful, all that kind of good stuff. What else did Joe say? Come on, Joe.
Much of the work we've done is already being felt by the American people, but the vast majority of it will not be felt over the next 10 years.
Okay, I want to focus. There's a lot that he said, but I want to focus on that for just a second. Can we do that? Let's focus on this together. Here we go. So Joe Biden says.
Much of the work we've done.
Okay, and we know the work that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the administration, has done to this country. We know the work that's been done, and we know where we are thanks to the work of this administration.
Is already being felt by the American people.
Oh, yes, it is being felt by the American people. But here's the other thing.
The vast majority of it will not be felt over the next 10 years.
So the vast majority of what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done in the past 4 years won't be felt until the next 10 years. Like, it may not be 10 years until we feel what happened with this administration. Now, that almost is like saying, hey, I just want to throw this out there, that if anything good happens in the next 2, 3, 4 years, you know who to blame. It's me. It's us. We did it. It's because it took some time for the churning and the stuff to get going, that kind of thing. Is that maybe it's just me? It felt like a weird way of saying, yeah, if anything good happens, you can give us the credit because we're. It's just weird. It's okay.
We have legislation we passed.
Yeah.
It's just only now just really kicking in. We're going to see over $1 trillion worth of infrastructure work done.
Yeah. When's that gonna start? They've had a lot of money, $1 trillion worth of infrastructure. You've had that money for a long time. That was a long time. I mean, how much longer do you need to get that kicking in? I'm just trying to figure out when we start kicking with the infrastructure.
Changing people's lives in rural communities and communities that are in real difficulty.
Not all of them. I mean, there are some difficult things that are going on right now in North Carolina, and some might say, hey, I need a bigger check. We can help us.
Because it takes time to get it done.
Yeah, sure.
And so much more. It's going to take time.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
But it's there.
Yep.
The road ahead is clear, assuming we sustain it. There's so much we can get done.
Yeah.
And will get done based on the way the legislation was passed. And it's truly historic. You know?
Yeah. You know, when I hear this, the Saturday Night Live Dana Carvey impression of Joe Biden is so spot on because he always does. He always throws that in as like the natural transition while he's reading off the teleprompter. You know. Anyway,
we're leaving behind the strongest economy in the world.
We're leaving behind the strongest economy in the world. Now, I think, didn't KJP say that today as well? I think KJP said the same exact thing, leaving behind the strongest economy in the world. I think she said it a little earlier today, and I'll see if I can dig up that audio. And I think I have it. I think that was mentioned. This is going to be like one of those themes, isn't it? It's going to be one of those things where they're going to have you believe the strongest. Now, some might say, you can hurt this economy a lot, and we would still be the number one economy in the world, even with any kind of damage that was done. But I'm kind of pulling hairs or picking at hairs or picking at scabs, or I forget. I don't know how the expression goes. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. So there's Joe Biden in the Rose Garden. Had a lot to say about his goodbyes and some of the things that he ran on. And did he mention anything about Trump in the end? Did he say? Now
we have 74 days to finish the term.
Yeah.
Our term.
Yeah.
Let's make every day count.
You don't have to. You really just you definitely don't have to make every day count. You can just count them. Just have somebody count them for you and just sit back. Don't do anything else. Just please don't. Just a reminder, CNN and Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings does a great job there on CNN. And, I watch so you don't have to. He did mention Joe Biden and some of the things we've learned, excuse me, and how everything started with what Joe Biden was saying about Trump and the importance of, well, let him say it. Go ahead.
And I think about the condition of the Democratic Party. It's been almost fully oriented around Trump for a decade. I mean, look and look at Biden. I mean, his basic campaign promise initially was to rid the country of Trump and Trumpism. And as he leaves office, Trumpism and the MAGA movement is stronger than ever. So not only are you just dealing with the wreckage of having lost an election, you're dealing with the total failure of the project of the current president as he set it out when he got elected in the first place.
Yeah, the total project of the president since the beginning. And you might say the total project of Democrats and the media combined, same thing, prove me wrong, was destroying Donald Trump since the golden escalator. Since that moment in time, that's been the one mission. And they've spent the better part of how many years now? Almost 10 years? Trying to destroy Donald Trump, saying the most awful, vile things about him. And look at where we are. Look at where it got them. What have they wrought?
I think part of the answers that you all are seeking are more than just tactical.
I agree.
So some of it is, what are we? Who are we?
What do we stand for?
What do we stand for?
Yeah. That was one of the other people there on CNN, one of the lefties there. What do we stand for? And that is a big part of the conversation, is it not? Because every time we talk about the greatness of America and the United States and our founding fathers and the Constitution, I feel like when I hear the left talking about it, it's quite a different thing than when I'm talking about it and when you're talking about it. Like their vision of what this country is and should be, as opposed to ours. That's really the sticking point here. And to his point, we've got to decide. And the worst thing and the nightmare for the left in this country right now is, and even the state, we'll get to that in just a second. The nightmare scenario is, and this is the scary part, everything's great. The nightmare scenario is everything turns out to be awesome with Trump as president and the cabinet that he's beginning to talk about and put together. even some of the things that are happening in the state. And by the way, I'm going to mention some of the names that have been bandied about as far as people that Trump may or may not put in his cabinet. Some Floridians in there, names that you may know. Interesting how it might work out. But that's the difference, is what we see America as and what you on the left see it as. We'll see. All right, let's pivot over to some Florida politics going on right now. Nikki Fried can't be happy today. Although, despite, as it is mentioned by Amber Joe in FLVoiceNews.com, an article about Nikki Fried and the Democrat Party, despite repeated claims by the party and Nikki Fried on social media that the party was in play. Do you remember? I'm sorry. Remember that? Remember the whole thing when the party's in play in the state of Florida? Oh, I'm telling you, we're going to come down. We're going to spend some money. We're going to do some really good things here because there's going to be a lot of movement. Oh, boy, there was a lot of movement. All right. State remains solidly red. I don't know if you know this, but I wish I had a ding. Big D, can you be my ding? Can you ding? At all? Like, just, I mean, you don't have to come up with a sound effect. You need to be the sound effect. Can you just ding? Ding? Just do that. Ding. Ding. Okay, good. So every time I mention one, just ding. Okay. Voters in Florida successfully flipped 6 counties red, including Miami-Dade. That's your ding. That's where you ding. Duval. Ding. Hillsborough. Ding. Osceola. Ding. Yes. Pinellas. Ding. And Seminole. Ding. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I can't see you at this moment, but I can only imagine because I can't see you on the other side of it. But your face.
I have to delete this segment from my memory.
No, you do not. No, this segment has to be. We have to etch this in the. Okay, this is the best. This is the best day ever. All right, so Miami-Dade, Duval, Hillsborough, Osceola, Pinellas, and Seminole all flipped red. 6 counties flipped, according to a statement from the Republican Party of Florida. By the way, Evan Power is going to join us in just a little while from now. We're going to talk about how well we did in this state. Yeah, you know, Nikki Fried was like, yeah, Democrats, they can win the state. It's winnable. We're going to take back Florida. And Rick Scott's in trouble. However, Trump received 1.4 million more votes than Kamala Harris in the state, according to the unofficial results, making the state R+13. That's the largest margin for a presidential candidate in 36 years. How about that for a ding? That's right. And Republicans outvoted Florida Democrats in the presidential race by about 1.2 million. But please keep Nikki Fried right where she is. She's doing a fantastic job. Don't move her. It's all right. So that's all out there. And there have been some gains in the Florida House. Gained a seat, bringing Republicans to 85 seats. Democrats have 35 seats. In 2022, Republicans had 84 seats. Democrats had 36. And we do know this as well. The polling, in some cases, missed the mark just a bit on some of the higher profile races this election cycle. Eric Doherty, who does amazing work for us here at Florida's Voice, FLVoiceNews.com. You can go to the website and check out this story because it's pretty remarkable when you see it. By the way, I have to wipe my eyes because I was laughing so hard at Big D's ding. I gotta tell you, oh man, it's been a long time since I laughed that hard. So the polling averages that were out there, Trump was projected to lead by 6 to 8 points in the state of Florida. However, the unofficial results show Trump winning with 56% of the vote compared to Vice President Kamala Harris's 42%. That's a 13-point margin. So they were saying 6 to 8%. I think it's it's kind of a 13-point margin. The error against Trump in the final averages, according to 538 and ABC, the Real Clear Politics and Decision Desk HQ and Nate Silver, was off by about 6 points. How about that? The most accurate was off by 5. And even in Rick Scott's case, the 3 outlets that were talking about the Senate race here, Real Clear Politics and Decision Desk and New York Times, they were off by an average of about 7.5%. Wow. How do you do that? Yeah. And, oh, by the way, in 22, DeSantis was underestimated by about 7 points in his reelection bid, too. I don't know. It feels as if Democrats in the state are trying to find something to cling on to, some hope. And when they get it from outside of the state, and I guess Nikki Fried and others trying to convince you that there's a chance, you say there's a chance. What was that? Was that Dumb and Dumber? I think that was Dumb and Dumber. That one I don't even have to go to Big D to figure out, because that was right. So you're saying there's a shot or a chance or something. Now I actually have to go to Big D, right? Wasn't that Dumb and Dumber? That was Jim Carrey's part in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Right, that's it. I like your Ding impersonation better than your Jim Carrey impersonation. I will make you Ding in the future. You have to, because it makes me happy.
I'm going to make a sound effect so I know never have to do that again.
Nope. It better be a sound effect of you making a Ding sound effect. Yeah, it goes back again to the reality on the ground versus the imagination of the left and the failure to accept failure. Again.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border. The border crisis is on their doorstep.
So
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some lessons.
That's what that was.
Just can't stop. Can't stop. I mean, even the late night hosts were not funny last night. I'm going to play some of that audio coming up because it goes back to the disturbing, sad part of all of this, which is there's a mental health crisis upon us right now as we speak. And I don't know if we've been building to this, but I can tell you that when you watch social media and you see, like, why is Jimmy Kimmel crying? I mean, maybe the reason why Jimmy Kimmel's crying is some other reason other than Trump won and he's sad for the country. Maybe there's something else going on I don't know about. But why are you crying? You're crying over things that were described by you, talking about the late night host, and we'll get to some of that audio coming up. That's not going to happen. And it's like they refuse to accept what the reality is. And the reality is, there are a lot of things that are going to happen, like J.D. Vance, who was talking on Tucker Carlson's program just the other day, that Trump's going to fire all the people within the federal government who work to obstruct him. That's a possibility. I mean, is that going to happen? I mean, the obstruction there and people not doing things that they should be doing within the federal government as he is president and he's asking them to do and they decide not to do because Trump. I mean, should they be fired? I mean, there's a little more to that story, but again, there's a lot here to dig into today, and we will do that more coming up here on Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is if you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles. He does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipped an Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with a game-changing offer for those ready to master their retirement journey. Look, we're going to navigate unpredictable waters in 24, an election year marked by financial uncertainty. It's crucial. You've got to have expert guidance. That's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. The Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings unparalleled experience and insight to the table. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, it's not just a guide. It's your strategic compass for navigating the financial seas with confidence. Look, with decades of experience, Alfie has created a powerful roadmap. It'll help you chart your course and make meaningful waves in your retirement. And for a limited time, you can get your hands on this book free. That's right, no cost. The book is more than just a collection of stories. It's a blueprint for achieving a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. So don't miss out. Text book to 239-747-1080 right now. It's book to 239-747-1080 and claim your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently steer towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, Florida State Senator Jason Brodeur is the Senate President pro tempore, and he's going to be joining us shortly here on Florida's Voice. Looking forward to a conversation with him. But in the meantime, let's find out what's going on with top of the news around the state of Florida.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines now.
All right, Eric Doherty is in the Florida's Voice newsroom, and he's got the latest for him right now. What's up?
Hey there, Drew. Here's what's happening right now. The election results have left the nation somewhat divided, and now we're seeing a surge in Americans considering a move north to Canada. As the news of Trump's victory spreads, Google searches for how to move to Canada skyrocketed, indicating a massive interest in relocation among some Americans. Social media platforms are buzzing with discussions about moving, with some individuals even claiming they've already taken steps toward relocation. While the idea of moving to Canada is popular, actually doing so isn't as simple as packing a bag. There's a ton to consider if you're thinking of making a move. Applicants must meet certain criteria like age, education, work experience, and language skills. Even if you're eligible, the process can be lengthy and complex, not a quick escape from political discontent. There's a change at the helm of Florida's environmental leadership. Governor Ron DeSantis has announced a new secretary for the Department of Environmental Protection. The announcement comes as Sean Hamilton is retiring. He served the state faithfully for over 30 years, and now Alexis A. Lambert has been tapped to lead the department. Sean Hamilton stepped down, leaving behind a legacy of significant environmental advancements. Lambert is currently the chief of staff at the Division of Bond Finance and has worked with DeSantis on debt reduction strategies. Speaking of the governor, he is publicly pitching for Florida's Surgeon General, Joseph Ladapo, to have a role in President-elect Donald Trump's new Health and Human Services Department.
Yeah.
DeSantis endorsed Ladapo for the position on social media shortly after the election. Ladapo has been Florida Surgeon General since his appointment in 2021 by the governor himself. Ladapo is an MD and has been a controversial figure among Democrats during his tenure, particularly for his stance on public health issues like the COVID vaccines and his skepticism towards the World Health Organization. Ooh. Democrats have labeled him a quack for his unconventional views that often clash with mainstream medical beliefs. Despite the criticism, Ladapo's role was reconfirmed in 2023, showing strong backing from the Republican-led Florida legislature. This support from DeSantis comes at a time when President-elect Trump is preparing to build his cabinet following a landslide victory in the election. That's it for now. I'll be back in an hour to tell you more about Florida's pivotal role in the 2024 election. I'm Eric Doherty, Assistant News Director here at Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Eric. We appreciate you there in the Florida's Voice newsroom, and he'll be back in just a little while from now. Because we've got a lot that we want to get to today, a busy day as you can imagine, a whole lot going on. And Dee, let me know when we have Jason Brodeur on with us, because I know he's going to be joining us soon. So we're just waiting for him to come on board, because there's a lot to talk about here in the state. Some of the other things that we're going to get to on the way include what has been just, I don't know, more and more, I'm trying to understand what it is that the Democrats are going to do, because they continue along this line of saying things to their constituents, saying things to people here in the country that is just it's just over the top. AOC just today.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it's going to be one of those things where Donald Trump's the president of the United States, and they're going to be really good things. They're going to have consequences throughout our life. I'm okay with that.
We cannot give up. We now find ourselves in a time in history that has precedent. And we find ourselves, I believe, in a time where there are let's say, peers in history of mass movements of people that mobilize to protect one another in times of fascism.
Stop. Okay. They're not going to stop with the whole, even though it hasn't registered for them yet, that the reason why the national popular vote went to President Trump was because for the longest time you've been beating people down far too long, and they're not fascists, and they're not Nazis, and they're not racists, and they're not homophobic, and they're not all the things that you've thrown at them at all, because they support something that you they support something that you don't. You can't keep doing that. And they haven't realized yet that that's the reason why, a big portion of the reason why, is that people have had enough of that. They've had enough of that talk. I'm not a fascist, which, by the way, AOC, I would love for her to explain. Do you even know what a fascist is? I wish somebody would put her on the spot. So it's, again, continuing. You have to stop. You just have to stop. But they won't. And if they keep doing this, they keep going down this road, and there's no evidence to the things that they have described, then guess what? You're going to lose more counties. You're going to lose more districts. You're going to lose a lot. And that's okay. The party will be here to pick things up. We'll have legislators here to pick things up. We'll have people around who will be ready, especially in the state of Florida, to do the hard work, like Jason Broder, who is the president pro tempore here in the Florida Senate, and he's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. It's Drew Steele. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
It is it's a different feel in the state of Florida, I would say, today, as it's been the past couple of days. It feels really good. Congratulations to you, and I know you are someone who is ready to do the hard work and get going there in the next legislative session. Which, it's so funny because I talk to people, and it's interesting how close it is, right? You think it's something that's going to be happening a long time from now because of everything we've just done, and then you look at your watch and you're like, wait a second, it's like right around the corner. So a lot of great things going on.
And it's really only a couple of weeks away before we do organizational session. And then, of course, we have our first committee week in December. And you're right. I think for so long, all summer, people have been saying, well, what are we going to do next session? And in your head, you think, well, that's not until March. That's so far away. And we've got all these elections to do. And you had the primaries, and primaries very quickly became the generals. And there was so much in the general, nationally, statewide, locally, that now that we've had a chance to exhale, you go, oh, wait, it's only 2 weeks away from org session, and then we're right after Thanksgiving, we're right into our first committee week. So we are going to start getting going very quickly. I know we've been planning stuff all summer, and so we're very excited to continue to make Florida the #1 destination in America. I think this last election showed that the way we're governing and what we're doing, and even today, earlier, I heard the Senate president of Arizona say that they need to start doing laws a lot more like Florida for voting laws. We have 23 million people, and we get our results out 15 minutes after the polls close. There are other states that wait to count their mail-in ballots, start counting their mail-in ballots until election day themselves. And if their state legislature would allow, and they had a process like we did, they could have all those ballots counted by 7:01 p.m.
I have to admit that sometimes I don't know how you do it. How is it that you have all of this that's going on here in the state, all these positive things, the legislature, the way the Senate works, and with the governor, and the work that everything has been, the way the work's been done here, the positive things that have happened, the results, and even when it comes to voting and what we do here in the state, how you do it, how you get all that done, and then you look to other states and you see what they're doing. Like, it would drive me crazy. It would drive me nuts, because I would want to be like, why are you not? It's okay. You could come talk to us. Come visit me. Like, I can imagine you. Yeah. Like, if I could say, come visit me. I'll talk to you. Whatever state. I'll show you what we do here. I'll show you how we're getting it done, because we want to be helpful. And the fact
that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's the most common conversation I had over the last 2 weeks was everybody said, why is it that it's going to take so long for Pennsylvania and Wisconsin to count their votes? And I said, well, it's funny because between Texas and Florida, we've got about 60 million folks. And by 10 p.m., we'll know the outcomes of our race. Those two states have it so that they don't start counting their ballots until that day. And so I think what would be helpful, and really this has been 24 years coming. When we got embarrassed in the 2000 election with hanging chads and all that, we started on this process to say we need the most transparent, fastest, most fair election process so that everyone has confidence that no matter the outcome, everyone had a chance to have their say, and we know the results immediately so that nobody thinks that a 3-day delay is a chance to see how many you need to go find, and then they go find them. Because I think there are instances where people could say, well, you know, in certain states, we think that it cost them 3 days because they were looking for extra bags of ballots. If you publish your results at 7:15, 8 o'clock, even 10 o'clock, it's a lot less likely that people will lack the confidence that they should have in the voting process. And so for me, the last 2 weeks were about explaining to Floridians who think it's just common sense the way we do it. And you go, yeah, but not every state has to do it the way we do it. And so we would love it if states like Arizona or Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania would copy our laws. And as we continue to make improvements, we hate to tinker with too much stuff, but as we find in uncontemplated situations that could strengthen the transparency and the speed at which we do this, we'd love to entertain that, and we'd love to help our colleagues.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And my biggest fear has always been, before we move on, when it comes to the way we do things here, is that other states and for me, and what I'll just say, Democrats, they ruin everything. They ruin you can't have nice things. You can't have nice things because they ruin it. And I just don't want them to ruin the nice things that we have here in the state. That's just me speaking. Okay, I won't say anything more about that. But I do want to ask this question because I think it's important that people understand. You've talked about the organizational sessions that are going to be happening and obviously committees. But the sessions that you'll be having, maybe there are people that don't know what that means. Like they're not really sure what's coming. Like what is that all about? For those that don't know the process by which you have these things happening there in Tallahassee.
Sure. So we constitutionally, every 2 years, we have a new leadership structure that comes in. You'll get a new Speaker of the House and you get a new Senate President. And part of what we need to do is organize in order to let those presiding officers be able to run their respective chambers. And so what we do during organizational session is we both formally elect our leaders as well as we pass our joint rules so that we understand the rules of the road about how it is that we're going to make motions, how it is we're going to cure amendments, how it is we're going to perfect them, and how it is we're going to pass them. And so legally, we have some rules between not only within our own chamber, but across chambers as joint sessions. And we want to formalize those to make sure at the outset, before we hear our first bill, everyone knows the rules of the road. And so that's that first week we come back. The next time we come back, we can actually get down to business, which means you'll have your committee assignments. You'll show up Tuesday at 10 o'clock at some room in the Capitol, and you'll be hearing about regulated industries or commerce or education or healthcare. And that's when we'll do a handful of things to start. Number one is we'll hear from the government agencies, such as transportation or healthcare administration or elder affairs, about what they've been up to the last year since we were in last session and we gave the budget, and what they want to do for the next year. The second thing we'll do is we have the ability to start hearing any bills that have been filed so far. Now, because we just had an election, there aren't many bills drafted. Bill drafting doesn't draft bills for people who aren't elected yet. So we are now just starting to be eligible as of this week to start putting things in bill drafting, to start getting together our ideas about what we'd like to start tackling in March. Starting in December, we may be eligible to do that, but my guess is we'll probably just hear from agencies and talk about the work of each committee as we go forward. Then starting in January committee meeting, we'll get down to business. We'll start hearing from panels. We'll probably start hearing bills. And that's in preparation of getting all bills in a posture to start to be heard on the floor, which means we've amended them, we've debated them in committees, we've gotten them through a handful, and we're now looking at having the final passage of those things come March when we formally open up the session.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's great information. Good to know. We're up against a hard break, so we've got to go right now, but I hope that we can have you back soon. I would love to talk more.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Drew. I love it.
No, fantastic. All right. All the best, sir. We appreciate you. God
bless.
Thank
you much.
We'll speak soon. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon. There he goes. Jason Broders, great guy. And he is the Senate President pro tempore here on Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Unhappy with the election results? Ready to ditch America once and for all? Introducing Canada, home to the NBA, Major League Baseball, and even our own version of the NFL. No penalties because everyone's so polite. Canada, where you can also find syrup, snowshoes, hot cocoa, toboggans. Oh, man. Little to no eye contact. Risk aversion. Oh, Canada. Not so much a country as it is a nap with a flag.
I'm sorry. That's actually pretty funny. It's a nap with a flag. All right. Anyway, I know there are a lot of people that are planning to move to Canada right now. So hey, Big D, how big is the list right now? Is it growing, or have they backed away from their moving to Canada if Donald Trump becomes president of the United States? So I think it's growing.
You know, it's funny. They talk about all this like they're going to go, and then when the time actually comes and Trump is in office, they're still here and they're just fine. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, it is, and some of them you might say have been even more successful, and some of them even made more money during Trump's time in office. It's a weird thing how that works out for the left. But anyway, so there's that. By the way, Big D, have you ever been to Canada at all?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Quite
Okay.
a few times.
We got to talk Canada up because now everybody thinks that we hate Canada. So where were you in Canada?
Montreal a few times, Toronto once. And I think that's it. Just Montreal and Toronto.
Okay. And what did you love the most about it? Do you have a one specific fun memory, a good memory?
Well, the great memory is that it's really true what they say. Everyone in Montreal is very nice. So everywhere you go, everyone says hi. Everyone's offering you a hand. If you can't speak French when you're walking around town, they help you out in English. Everyone was nice. The people working in the shops were nice. Nothing to complain about.
Yeah, but the problem is I can't ask you because you're a New York City guy, so everything is up from there when it comes to nice.
Yeah, I set the bar really low coming from New York. Yeah.
You can't do that.
I can travel anywhere and say everyone was nicer from where I was.
Of course you can. That's the unfair practice of living in New York, is that what ends up happening, or being a New Yorker formally or whatever, is that everything is, you can't go anywhere but up. That's not really true. There are some. There's a dude in Brooklyn who seemed to be okay that one time. Anyway, we're moving on. Hey, what else do we have that we're looking? Oh, I like this. Maxine Waters. You know, Maxine Waters is a Democrat, and she was on with Chris Cuomo, I believe, is a Democrat as well. And they were on, News Nation, where I guess they're trying to convince people that they're like right down the middle and almost like really fair and balanced or something like that. I think that's their slogan, like really super fair and balanced. I don't know what it is. So Maxine Waters was on with Chris Cuomo, and he says,
what is the lesson that your party should have learned?
Okay. What's the lesson, Maxine Waters?
Well, the Democratic Party worked very hard. And they raised, substantial sum of money.
Hey, do we want to talk about the raising of a substantial amount of money? Should we go there right now? Because I don't know if people realize this, but after the campaign was done, Kamala Harris left them $20 million in debt. They raised like $1 billion. How do you raise $1 billion, lose, and you're in debt $20 million? You know what the suggestion is? I don't know if she realizes this, but I'm going to fill in the blanks for her in case she doesn't know. I mean, she has to know. It has to be because you spent it all on concerts, right? Lizzo and Eminem and Bruce Springsteen. I mean, that's a lot of money, all those concerts and the stages and everything, just to make people think that you're getting support.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way. No way. No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Hey, is it true that there's a governor in the country that's saying she would use executive power to stop Trump? From deporting criminal aliens? No. No, there wouldn't be. Well, there is. I got the audio proof. We'll play it coming up. This is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county-elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with an offer that can help steer your retirement in the right direction. Look, we're going to navigate the turbulent waters of 24 with this financial uncertainties and shifting tides. Having expert guidance is more crucial than ever, and that's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. As Southwest Florida's certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings expert knowledge and insight. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, isn't just a guide. It's your navigational compass for mastering the financial seas. With decades of experience, Alfie has crafted a powerful roadmap to help you chart your course and make impactful waves in your retirement. Look, for a limited time, you can claim your free copy of this valuable guide. That's right, no cost. This book is more than just pages. It's your blueprint for a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. Don't let this opportunity drift by. Text book to 239-747-1080. That's book to 239-747-1080. Look, secure your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently navigate towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
Your support for veterans in the military.
educating us,
Standing up for conservatism.
giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Anytime you want to watch the program, and we know you do, and even you Florida Democrats, hey, thanks for watching the program. We get your messages. It's cool. At FL Voice News, you can go to YouTube, Rumble, X. We love that you're joining us and watching and hanging out. Some of the messages I could do without, but that's okay. It's fine. Whatever you want to say, we love you hanging out, and we do appreciate our affiliates all across the state of Florida for allowing us to be on your great station. Thank you so much. A lot going on coming up. Some interesting comments being made to the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, by the press. Like this feeling of, hey, you won't be in office much longer, so now we can be ourselves and tell you and ask you questions that we really want to ask you, as opposed to maybe being a little shy about it. Is that really what happened today? I'll play the audio and you tell me. In the meantime, this has a beautiful ring to it. Congressman-elect Mike Haradopoulos, who's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it. How are you today, sir?
I like the sound of that as well. Thank you so much, Drew. Great to be on this morning, and it's been an amazing week for our country. And, of course, a huge win by Donald Trump. And it looks like we're actually going to keep control of the House of Representatives and, of course, take the United States Senate. The people have spoken, and it's time to move this country forward.
Yeah, a lot of hard work, I know, on your part, certainly as you were out there. As you're talking to constituents, as you're talking to people now, do you get the sense, like I have in talking to people, and quite honestly, even some people, some Democrats, I joke around with, but in all honesty, I get this almost like a sigh of relief. Like they feel like help is on the way because they've been living through what we've all been living through. It doesn't matter what party you're with. You have the same issues that we all have with regard to the things that have happened in the country. And so there is this feeling of help's on the way. Did you get that same feeling?
I really do. I think people have been struggling for 4 years, especially with higher and higher prices, and they see the chaos overseas and of course, right at our border. And they just feel like the government's not on their side anymore. It seems like they look out for the extremes and that they're not looking out for the folks who really make America work every day. And I'm optimistic that with President Trump's agenda, which is shared by those of us in the United States House of Representatives and Senate, that we can do one thing: secure the border, do everything we can to become energy independent, And third, by doing that, we can help drive down prices coupled with the idea of slowing down government spending. You do those three things, you see a remarkable change in the United States. And I think that's what most people are looking for. The old saying in 1992 is, it's the economy, stupid. I think there's a combination of that. And the other one is, it's the border, stupid. I mean, Kamala Harris was just not believable when she said she wanted to change things at the border after 4 years of chaos. And people said, you know what, Donald Trump, however unique he is a fighter. And when he says he wants to do something, he is going to do something. And whenever you get a second bite at the apple, he knows exactly the levers of power, which he was a little bit unfamiliar with when he started in 2017. And I think you're going to see a House behind him this time, as opposed to Paul Ryan and others who weren't exactly supportive when he took office in January of 2017.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point. The difference that all of this time moving forward has made for him, has shown him quite honestly, the people surrounding him right now and Republicans overall, the great bench, if you will, as people describe, and the choices and the places that he can go right now. It's really remarkable. If they can stick to the script and get the things done that need to get done. And you know better than anybody what it's like, for example, when you stick to your conservative values, for me, and even the last conversation we had, the importance of fiscal responsibility, of keeping an eye on all of these things that, sometimes it's not pretty, it's not flashy, it's not the thing that's shiny and beautiful for people, but it is the important thing that needs to happen, that fiscal responsibility, that look forward, that idea that we know exactly from our past the good things that we can do once again to get us to where we need to be. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And yeah, you put it best. It's not sexy, but it's the thing you have to do. It's the way that businesses and families make things work. There's a difference between what you want and what you can afford. And we need to start focusing on the basics once again and take care of the people who made this country an amazing country, and tell people who want to come here, you're welcome here, but you have to play by the rules. And if you want to come here, you need to contribute day one. You don't want to be a ward of the state when you come into our nation. And so it's a very simple playbook. It's served our country for almost 250 years. And this is a land of opportunity, not of result. And one of those results we need to have is, let's balance the budget. Let's think about how we do that, because right now, for every dollar that's spent in your taxpayer dollars, 20 cents goes to the budget to pay off things that happened in the past. That's not looking out for our kids' future. And so I'm really optimistic. I think the Senate is going to do their part. I know we'll need, in a lot of cases, 60 votes. And if it's not there, to bore your crowd a little bit here on the show, we need budget reconciliation, meaning we need to push through those measures and make sure we don't spend those unspent dollars, put it back into the Treasury, get rid of all these new IRS agents that aren't going to be looking out for you and I. They're going to be looking out for new dollars to take from you, and make sure that we actually have a border that's not porous, but secured, and send folks back to Mexico unless they pass all the standards that are necessary and meet the qualifications of the people around the world who've been waiting for years to do so.
Right, no doubt. I talked about this the other day, and maybe you can comment on it if you'd like, but I'm always amazed at how, when you ask people to do things as you have studied in government, and you say, well, these things can be cut, some of these things can go away, we can do without this, like the study of and what even President Trump has been talking about, to look at how the government is run and to see whether or not there is waste, whether or not there are things that can be cut, and how that strikes fear in people, as if you go away from what is going on right now, somehow everything will collapse, as if it's perfect right now. And I can't imagine any other way. Like, of course there's another way, and there's a better way. And you have to be willing to, and I think you are that type of person. It's one of the things I appreciate about you, is that I think you're one of those people that, look, we do what we have to do. This is for the good of the American people. We've got to explain to them, articulate the position. But at the end of the day, when you do these things, you will do good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it comes down to the good news that with Elon Musk helping out in this election cycle. He understands efficiency. He understands getting the maximum out of every single dollar. He understands what it's like to build a business. We need to operate our government a lot more like a business today. What is the return on investment when we make different tax policies? Is it going to grow this economy, or is it just a feel-good measure so that it sounds good in a soundbite? So I think these are the things we need to look at as we look at the tax cuts that Donald Trump put in place that are up for grabs again this year, the Trump tax cuts. We need to look at every one of those and say, what best grows the economy as opposed to, again, plays political games, and which programs have simply either outlived its usefulness, or there's a lot of duplicity where it's already being done in the private sector or under some other government program. We need to look at that kind of work. It's arduous, it's difficult, but that's the way you balance the budget. You grow the economy and you get rid of wasteful or duplicated spending. That's how we're going to turn this country around.
Yeah, before we go, you mentioned Elon Musk. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy where we are right now, where you have RFK Jr., Elon Musk, you have Tulsi Gabbard, you have people who, in the past may have taken sides politically, but now realize what's at stake and how we can work together. And there is a president that can get all of these things done in these specifics. How when you're in this place and you have these kind of people around you, it just bodes well for the country, for everybody. Like the excitement, I think is there. It's tangible. I'm looking forward to it. I really am, and I'm sure you are as well.
We are, Drew, and I can't thank you enough for putting shows like us on. We need to be talking about good ideas, not just being partisan for partisan's sake. We need to really roll up our sleeves, see what we can agree on as Republicans and Democrats, and then move the ball forward, because it's become too much about talk, not about action. And so with Elon Musk and Donald Trump really leading the charge, and those of us in the House and Senate pushing that agenda, I think we can turn around this country and make yourself feel proud again to fly the flag and move this country forward and make us the shining city on the hill.
All right. All right, let's do it. Come on, I'm ready to. I'm excited. I'm kind of a little pumped, sir, as you can imagine.
I am as well. Let's go to work. Let's go.
I know. Let's go. All right. I was gonna say I roll up my sleeves, but I'm wearing a T-shirt today, so I'm already kind of sort of rolled up sleeves there. All right. Listen, I hope we have you on again soon. Always enjoy your visit. All right. So we'll do this.
It's my pleasure, Drew. Have a great week, and what a great week. Thanks for everything.
Absolutely.
See you soon.
Congratulations. God bless. All right. There he goes. That is Congressman-elect Mike Karadopoulos joining us on Florida's Voice. Always great to see you. Yeah. Look. Rolling up the sleeve, getting to work, the people that have joined forces, if you will, kind of like an Avengers thing. They're really not Avengers, but joining forces, coming together, the names, the people that, look, you have specific things that you care about. I had this conversation today, and I hope this makes sense and then we'll move on. But as I was talking to a friend of mine today at breakfast, and we were talking about everything that's going on, which, by the way, the person that I was with, not a Republican, not necessarily a fan of President Trump's. And funny enough, I do have friends that are like that. And I don't mind, because in life you hope and pray that you have more in common than just politics. And if something were to happen, you just don't dismiss them. Because politically you disagree, and I can't tell you how many people have that going on. Really, I mean, you probably know this in your life. But as I'm sitting there and I'm having the conversation with her, and we're talking about the different people that we just mentioned, RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk, and how it feels like there is no other person, candidate, president-elect, that could have made this happen, that could have brought these individuals together. I might disagree with that, because I think that it's not about that. It's bigger. It's not the personalities or the person, but it's the values and what we want to see in the future for the country. You look at someone like RFK Jr., who cares desperately about the health and well-being of the country and sees what's going on with certain corporations, businesses, and like we talked about yesterday, why are there 13 or 14 or 17 or 18 or 19? I didn't even know how many ingredients in the Fruit Loops here in the country, but you go to Canada and there's like 3. The person I was with today was like, yeah, that's right. It's like, there's something not right about that, and we should be able to talk about it. And if there are people within the administration that could figure out what's going on here, that's a good thing. Yep. Forget about the other stuff necessarily that he believes that I completely disagree with RFK Jr., like the issues of climate change, man-made, or, you know, what we need to do in carbon. And okay, I could put that aside if you're focused, laser focused on this one issue, because we found something we agree on. Elon Musk, the same thing, censorship. We can't do this. You can't censor us. You can't do this. I'm going to buy Twitter to make sure that we have an open platform for free speech, no matter what it is. Yeah, but that's hate speech. You can call it whatever you want. But I found the focus where Elon Musk, I am sure, politically, that there are things that I disagree with. And probably you do as well. But we're laser focused on this one issue in censorship, and we don't want this. We're not going to have this. That's not what we do in this country. And if we can do that, we can come together. She said, yeah, that's right. So that bodes well for a presidency, doesn't it? So doesn't that mean that all the things that you, as I'm talking to her today, the things that you're worried about and you're concerned about him, maybe you can relax a little bit? Because if he could bring people in that politically have a lot that's not in common with him, but he can find the commonality in things that mean so much to us and the constitutional republic, not the democracy, but the constitutional republic that we are, then that's a good thing. That's a positive, right? Yeah, and then, of course, you've got the people that, like, I'm sure we'll be talking about for days and weeks and months and possibly years to come. You know, I don't see a lot of the keyboard cowboys anymore on social media that are talking smack and saying all these things. But I am hearing more and more about people who are disowning people, who are just, they don't want to be friends anymore with certain individuals because of this. They've lost their minds in a lot of ways. And, you know, I worry about that. I don't know, Dee, is that just me? I mean, you haven't heard anything like that, have you? Well, you probably have. I mean, I'm just assuming. I don't know, but I can't be the only one that has heard stories. I don't know, maybe whether on social media or someplace out there, or a friend of a friend of a friend's or somebody, where it's like, I'm going to disown you because you voted for Trump. They're all over the place, these stories. If you heard anything?
Well, they are, yeah. Well, I got married earlier this year, so I'm still part of this group on Facebook with like new brides and grooms asking for advice and stuff. And I saw a post, I wasn't sure I was going to share this, but I'll share it. I saw a post from a bride, and she said, my wedding is coming up this week, and I have people who are coming who are Trump supporters. How do I uninvite them? Please help.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
And it's a shame. You have
Right,
these
it's
people,
terrible.
possible bridesmaids or groomsmen, and just
Right.
because they voted for one way or another, you don't want them at your wedding anymore?
Right. And why are they coming to your wedding? They're coming to your wedding because they want to share with you what they believe to be one of the, if not the most consequential day in your life. And they want to celebrate that moment. And instead, you don't want them to show up because Trump.
Because they voted for somebody you didn't. And the reasons behind it are just ridiculous too. There's no backing behind this whatsoever. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose lifetime relationships over something so silly. It's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Look, even here's another example. Here is a segment on MSNBC from yesterday. A segment called Democrat Governors Prepare for Second Trump Term. What are you preparing for? You're a Democrat governor. You've got a state that you have to run, but you got to prepare for Trump. What's going on that's so horrible, that's so terrible, or disruptive of your state? Like, what is it? So here you go. Listen to this exchange. Lawrence O'Donnell.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
This is the Massachusetts governor who's being asked if he requests National Guard, mass deportations. Of course, you know, you have the, where's the, do we have the music? It's okay, right, exactly. Got to make it sound, you know, it's evil, mass deportations and guard troops. Can you imagine? Think of the optics. All right, so you have people that are here illegally, criminals that are in this country illegally. Let's speak to that for a second. And what does the governor in Massachusetts say?
No, absolutely not. But, you know, let me say this. I do think it's important that we all recognize that there's going to be a lot of pressure on states and state officials. And I can assure you, we're going to work really hard to deliver. Some realities also need to be, you know, noted. And that is, in 2016, we had a very different situation in the courts. And while I'm sure there may be litigation ahead, you know, there's a lot of other ways that people are going to act and need to act for the sake of their states and their residents. There's regulatory authority and executive powers and the like. There's legislation also within our states. So I think that the key here is that, you know, every tool in the toolbox has got to be used to protect our citizens, to protect our residents.
To protect citizens and residents. So the question to the Massachusetts governor is, Trump is talking about deporting criminal aliens in this country. And her reaction is, well, we got to do what's right to protect the residents. Well, protecting the residents would be to remove criminal elements from this country that are here illegally, isn't it? But in her eyes, you know, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a battle. And she'll use executive power if she has to stop it? How is that protecting residents? So they're already thinking that if Trump is to do this, if he is looking for help to remove criminal illegals from this country, that the state of Massachusetts will not give him the help that he needs? Is there any indication in the election at all that you're right about that? Because I'm pretty sure that part of what happened this election cycle was the concern about that, and maybe they should go. And Trump wants them out, and you don't? And you'll do whatever you have to do to make sure that that doesn't happen. That to me is remarkable. Like, I can't even believe it. Some of the other things I can't even believe are how now all of a sudden you have reporters who are becoming bold, that are all of a sudden now speaking their minds and speaking the truth to people like White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, because it's like, listen, you're not going to be here that long, so I can't really tell you what I think. Joe Biden today was at the Rose Garden with a lot of people that are within the cabinet and the administration, and saying his goodbyes. We'll play some of that audio coming up. And one reporter's like, you know, y'all threw a lot of nasty comments at Trump. And
the president repeatedly referred to Donald Trump as a threat to democracy over and over again. And this morning, though, he said we're all going to be okay. So was that just political rhetoric?
Oh, look at that. Hey, you know what? The president this morning was like, everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Why is it that my Joe Biden impersonation sounds more like The Godfather? Hey, or just pains of age? All right, so what does she say?
I mean, if you know the president, you know that him saying we're all going to be okay, he's an optimist, right? He believes when you get knocked down, you get back up. Yeah. We lost, but we're not defeated, right?
No.
We suffered a defeat, but we're not defeated.
Yeah.
And that is the president's optimistic nature. Oh. And it's very similar to the question that I just got from Karen.
He's very optimistic. By the way, she went on to say we weren't the only ones saying that. So threw it back on Trump. Okay, gotcha.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I've deployed 3 times. being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipton Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on, and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with a game-changing offer for those ready to master their retirement journey. Look, we're going to navigate unpredictable waters in 24. An election year marked by financial uncertainty. It's crucial. You've got to have expert guidance. That's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. The Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings unparalleled experience and insight to the table. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, it's not just a guide. It's your strategic compass for navigating the financial seas with confidence. Look, with decades of experience, Alfie has created a powerful roadmap. It'll help you chart your course and make meaningful waves in your retirement. And for a limited time, you can get your hands on this book free. That's right, no cost. The book is more than just a collection of stories. It's a blueprint for achieving a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. So don't miss out. Text book to 239-747-1080 right now. It's book to 239-747-1080 and claim your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently steer towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, coming up in a couple of minutes, Evan Powers is going to join us, the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. I wonder if he's in a good mood today or not. I think he's fine. All right, we'll get to him in just a second. But first, let's find out what's going on with news across the state of Florida. It's top of the news.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines.
Now. And speaking of now, it's Eric Doherty in the Florida's Voice newsroom. He's got the latest. What's up?
Hey, Drew, here's what's topping our news at this hour. A show of support for Florida Surgeon General, and it comes from Governor Ron DeSantis. He's publicly pitching Joseph Ladapo to have a role in President-elect Donald Trump's new Health and Human Services Department.
Nice.
DeSantis endorsed Ladapo on social media after the election. Ladapo has been Florida Surgeon General since his appointment in 2021 by the governor himself. Ladapo is an MD and has become a controversial figure during his tenure, particularly for his stance on public health issues like COVID-19 vaccines and his skepticism toward the World Health Organization. Despite criticism from Democrats, Ladapo's role was reconfirmed in 2023, showing strong backing from the Republican-led Florida legislature. The support from DeSantis comes at a time when President-elect Donald Trump is preparing to build his cabinet following a landslide victory in the recent election. Republican leaders are sending out a round of thanks to all 50 states for delivering wins for the GOP, and it's clear that Florida was playing a pivotal role with a strong backing for conservative policies. Florida has long been viewed as a leader for national political trends, and what we saw during this Tuesday's election solidifies that position. The Republican state leadership touted its efforts to make sure the GOP expanded the supermajority in both chambers of the state legislature. That stronghold remains. Florida's legislative agenda will likely reflect conservative priorities and policies like revitalizing the economy, enhancing public safety, and pushing for strict migration control. Are you among those thinking of moving north? Tuesday's election results have left the nation divided, and now we're seeing a surge in Americans considering a move north to Canada. As the news of Trump's victory has spread, Google searches for how to move to Canada has skyrocketed, indicating a massive interest in relocation among some Americans. Social media platforms are buzzing with discussions about moving, with some individuals even claiming they've already taken steps toward relocation. While the idea of moving to Canada is popular, actually doing so isn't as simple as packing a bag. There is a ton to consider if you're thinking of making a move. Applicants must meet certain criteria like age, education, work experience, and language skills. Even if you're eligible, the process can be lengthy and complex, not a quick escape from political discontent. That's it for now. Be sure to check out more of our content on our webpage. Just head over to Florida's Voice. I'm Eric Doherty, Assistant News Director. Drew, back over to you.
Thank you, Eric. I love how Eric is giving people advice on how it's not as easy as you think it is to move to Canada. I'm sorry. There has to be. I should have asked him while he was on, but I wonder if there was like a little bit of trolling in there. Like, really? You're not going to move. By the way, if you try to move, you're thinking about doing it, it's not like you're just going to grab your suitcase and go, because just stop. Anyway, they are continuing to do that. I think Evan Powers is pretty happy where he is. I think he wants to stay right here in the state of Florida. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Today, of course, Evan Powers joining us on Florida's Voice. He's the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. And There's no going to Canada for Evan, I don't think. First of all, how are you feeling today, sir?
I'm feeling great, and I know I don't want to live anywhere other than Florida.
The whole Canada thing is pretty funny, but that is, before we get to the real meat of what's going on, and there's a lot of good that took place. Oh boy, is there a lot of good that took place here in the state. That's a serious issue, though, right? That is people, I'm moving to Canada, who I guess sometimes, well, maybe they're not moving out of Florida because they do appreciate what the legislature has been doing and the governor, right, and how good it is here. So it's funny how a lot of Canadians, we love you Canadians, by the way. I know there's a lot of Canadians that come to Florida, and then they get here, and it's like, why would I ever want to leave? But I guess it's just indicative of how some people just feel when they lose an election and they get upset and politically, what ends up happening. It's silliness, but still, what a great day. What a great day here in the state of Florida. So good. So good.
No, we had a great night on Tuesday, and you look at what the races we won. We won the state of Florida by 13 points, which is the most since 1988. Rick Scott won by double digits. Never won by more than 1% before. And then if you look at, we defended the super majorities that have never been done in history, and we actually picked up a seat in the House. So when you look at what we're doing in Florida, the voters of Florida love it. And I think most of us love what we get to experience here because we have true conservative leadership that delivers for us.
Yeah, and the numbers, the numbers that I think it was Eric that put these numbers out recently, talking about the Florida GOP lead. Historic. I mean, the numbers over Democrats, even after the 24 election, and the amount that were added, and the flipping of blue counties red, many of them, just indicative of so much. I guess kind of shocking, but not when you understand what we've been able to do here in the state, right?
No, I think it's only shocking because people, 4 years ago, you would have said this was unheard of. We couldn't do it. Yeah. We won in 2020 by record numbers, and it's a presidential year. You're not going to do as good. We flipped 6 counties this time. We won Miami-Dade County for the first time since '88. And a lot of that was due to our outreach to Hispanic voters who just really appreciate what Senator Scott has done and what our government has done, Republican-led government has done. And we flipped Miami-Dade, Osceola County. We picked up about 7 points in Orange County, which is one of the only liberal places that exist anymore. We flipped Duval County. Right. So you're looking at all these places where we're having tremendous success. We almost flipped Palm Beach County. And, I think that, it was 0.66%. At the end of the day. So I'm going to declare that kind of a win, if you will. So you're looking at Broward, Leon, Gadsden, Orange as your only places that are really Democratic strongholds. And I'll tell you, we're ready to fire it up in January to get back to work on registering more Republicans and getting them to request vote-by-mail ballots and starting the whole process over again.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that earlier about how, you look at your watch and here we are. We're already talking about committees and session on the way. I mean, it's amazing how quickly that happens and getting back to work. I know a lot of people still celebrating, but at the same time, a lot of work to be done. Maybe we should make sure that we keep Nikki Fried exactly where she is. Can we just don't move her? Leave her there. What a great job on the Democrat side here in the state. Just excellent work. I'm trying to figure out a way to make sure that nothing changes over there because I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Nikki Fried at all?
Well, listen, I'm willing to endorse Nikki Fried or her opponent, whatever she thinks will work better for her, because I like her where she is. I mean, she changed the Democrats' logo to a panther, and that is appropriate because the Democrats have been almost extinct in the state of Florida.
Oh, I want to leave it on that, but I really don't because I want to keep going. No, but that is, I feel bad in a way, but I got to be honest. I mean, some of the talk early on. I mean, it's just the two of us talking, sir. There's some of the talk earlier of being in play, the state's in play, all of these different things that are going to happen, how people are upset in certain areas of the state, and none of it came to fruition. Like it was, and I don't mean like a part of it. I mean none of it. None of the things. The numbers, even the polling was off like crazy. Some of the numbers with Trump and Rick Scott. I couldn't believe some of the difference in what it was suggesting, and compared to, like you mentioned, like Rick Scott double digits. I mean, come on.
Well, when you look at it, the problem is pollsters use past results to model what their electorate is, and they didn't take into account that we added to our voter registration lead and got over 1 million registered voter advantage. And so when you have that turnout advantage, it changes where the numbers are. And if you go back and rescale those polls, they'll look like 10 or 13 point leads like we ended up delivering. But it's just shows what kind of historic nature that this shift and change has created in Florida, where it's hard to mark where we are because we've shifted so far right so fast. And to your point on this, is Florida in play? If you go back and play all my interviews, I spent way too much time talking about is Florida in play. I never actually had to talk about the issues that were actually affecting Floridians, because that's all they ever wanted to talk about was, is Florida in play? But the fact is, the reason we've shifted is we're talking about the economy, we're talking about immigration, and we're talking about making our country safer. And those were the real issues, not abortion and all the fake issues that they manufactured.
Oh man, I can go on all day about those. I mean, I can go on all day, my personal opinions on the downing of Amendment 3 and Amendment 4, and especially 4 in the suggestion. You know, I think I guess I could talk to you about this, Evan, because you know that was important to me because as we had talked about before, and I talked about with others, like the lies and being duped, and I'm not that guy, and I don't want that happening here in the state, and some of what was being suggested, and even when it comes to Amendment 4, and look, you know, you take it on a moral value issue, and you look at it that way, and it's a tough discussion to have, but one I'm willing to have, and others are willing to have, no doubt about it. You know, but the lies and some of the media, the ads that were out there in the media, and the lies and distortions that I was hearing, and then even an electorate that went from the overturning of Roe to where we are now, and the states having the ability to do what it is that they want. And, you know, we could debate that all day long. But I think a lot of people saw that and realized it's not as dire as some people are suggesting. And even what's going on here in the state, and some of the things, I saw some posts recently of people saying, well, now I'm going to have to go across state lines. No, what? Like so outrageous, some of the things that people were saying. And I think that was one of the lessons that I took away from this election was, you know, you can't keep bashing us all the time. You can't be speaking the way you've been speaking about Republicans. You can't keep doing this and expect that people are going to just sit back and take it and believe it for when they know it's not true, because I'm not that person. And then on the other side of it, all the distortions on certain amendments were just wrong. And I think people realize that.
No, I think they decided to lie about what they were doing because they knew the electorate wouldn't pass them when they found out the facts. And once we educated them, those numbers came down quite quickly. But it's exactly what they tried to do in the presidential race too. They told us the economy's fine, the border is secure, and we're safer around the world. All of those things are provably false. Right. And people woke up and said, no, I went to the grocery store today. Prices were more expensive. I see people crossing the border and costing us. And when you look at the Middle East, you know it's not safer than it was under President Trump. And so I think that what we had was a repudiation of the Democrat Party and a repudiation of the media that has been covering for the Democrat Party and covered for the fact that Joe Biden wasn't competent to do the job for 4 years.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, I always appreciate having you on. I love having the visits with you, especially when it's the way it is right now. It's really good. Although I kind of figured it would be this way.
It's good to visit right now because we have so much to celebrate.
Yeah, and we still have so much to do, but at the same time, it's a good day. It's been a good week so far. So love seeing you. And listen, God bless. We'll see you soon. Okay. All the best.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Take care. There's Evan Power. He is the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, joining us on Florida's Voice. Yeah, good stuff. You can't. The lesson, that's such a big lesson. You couldn't keep doing it. You just couldn't keep doing the things that Democrats were doing and the things that they were saying. And people not saying, no, I'm not a racist, I'm not a homophobe, I'm not all the things you're saying. By the way, somebody, Greg Price, who's a great follow on X, was mentioning how good things have been in the past couple of days. And even off the air, Big D, Nina, and I, is it me? Is it Big D, Nina, and me? Or Big D, Nina, and I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, it does to some people. They get really crazy. The grammar police. That's a Cheap Trick song. Anyway, Donald Trump has been the president-elect for not even 2 days. Hamas calls for an end to the war in the Middle East. Iran-backed Houthis announced a ceasefire. Putin says he's ready to work toward peace. And Steve Madden is halting manufacturing in China by half in a year. Wow.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, or X, anytime you want to call, we are live 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day. You can call 866-588-8303. 866-588-8303 is the number anytime you want to dial us up. Hey, Big D, do you got an air fryer? Are you big on the air fryer thing? Have we talked about air fryers? Air fryers. Do you like an air fryer?
I have an air fryer.
Yeah.
I use one.
Yep.
Quite a lot.
All right, here's a headline. I guess your air fryer may be spying on you. How about that?
I have never suspected my air fryer to be spying on me.
Yeah, I guess it is. According to the magazine UK Consumers Association, there's a magazine out there that's saying that the UK Consumers Association reports that its testing of air fryers revealed that the gadgets were sharing user data with third parties for marketing purposes. They're the smart models. They have smart models of air. Why do you need a smart model of an air fryer? You put the stuff in the.
Those.
I want a dumb fryer. Hold on, I just want to stick the stuff in the fryer. You stick it in and you fry it up. What is it? Why does it need to be smart? Smart in what way? Like you just push the button. The problem with the smart devices is it seems to be they should call it lazy devices, not smart devices. Why do I feel like every time I hear this is a smart device, it's really like I don't have to get up and reach for the wall outlet. All I have to do is clap my hands and the light turns on. It's like, get off the couch. Just get up and go push the button. It's you know what I mean? Doesn't that feel like it feels like
a smart device, but it's turning humans lazy.
Okay. Well,
the device is still pretty smart. We have to admit that. But yes, you are right. It is turning people lazy.
Right. It's not. But to me, it's a lazy device. I mean, the device itself's not lazy, clearly, because it's doing what I don't want to do. But all right, you all get the point. Anyway, so I don't know which brand it is. Doesn't matter. If you've got an air fryer and it smartly does something that you're too lazy to get up and do yourself, it's spying on you. So go get one of the dumb devices. It's like a dumb phone. I like dumb phones. I want to make a call. That's all I want to do. I just want to call somebody. I don't need anything else. I don't need this. You got a smartphone? No, I don't. I like a dumb phone. I'm good with that one. It's fine with me. All right, coming up in a couple of minutes, I think it's fantastic that Joseph Ladapo is being mentioned right now as someone that Donald Trump should consider to be in some way, shape, or form part of the Trump administration's HHS, maybe as the HHS secretary. Just a reminder of some of the things that he has said in the past that drive the left crazy. But he's right. And I'm going to play that coming up. Also, the late night hosts, we're not very, not that they're funny anyway, but they really were not very funny yesterday, on the heels of what was their first program back after the election. And, you know, there is something to be said about Jimmy Kimmel crying. Like, well, dude, why are you crying? Are you really upset? Like, you really honestly in your heart believe that the things you've been told by the lefties around you in the state are really going to happen? Like, do you really think that Trump's a fascist? You don't even know what that means. Nazi. Maybe you know what that means. Like, you really don't think that, do you? I don't know why else Jimmy Kimmel would be crying. Actually, I have an idea of some reasons why Jimmy Kimmel might be crying, and so would others. But I want to play some of the audio coming up, because it is, I don't know, over the top, odd, sad.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right, once again, anytime you want to watch the program, just go to our social media sites at FL Voice News. That's Rumble, that's X, that's YouTube. And of course, anytime you want to listen, DrewSteele.com, the website. Steele has 3 E's, 24/7. You can go there to listen live.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with an offer that can help steer your retirement in the right direction. Look, we're going to navigate the turbulent waters of 24 with this financial uncertainties and shifting tides. Having expert guidance is more crucial than ever, and that's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. As Southwest Florida's certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings expert knowledge and insight. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, isn't just a guide. It's your navigational compass for mastering the financial seas. With decades of experience, Alfie has crafted a powerful roadmap to help you chart your course and make impactful waves in your retirement. Look, for a limited time, you can claim your free copy of this valuable guide. That's right, no cost. This book is more than just pages. It's your blueprint for a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. Don't let this opportunity drift by. Text book to 239-747-1080. That's book to 239-747-1080. Look, secure your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently navigate towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Oh, it's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Core-Tec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Core-Tec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there and helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you standing there. Hey, nice to see you today. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass, along with Nina in the newsroom. Coming up in just a little bit, the late night hosts. I wasn't laughing. They didn't seem like they were laughing either yesterday. And some of it was just, well, you'll hear the audio and realize that they're just not coping very well with all of this. And not just that, but how the media is handling it. Oh, boy, do I got some audio in just a second. A reminder, anytime you want to call, yeah, if you're looking at the screen, there's the number right on your screen, 866-588-8303. If you're saying screen, what screen? You can watch at FL Voice News on our social media platforms. That would be YouTube, Rumble, or X, anytime you would like. And a big thank you to our great affiliates across the state of Florida who are bringing this program to you live as I speak. Media Research Center doing a great job with this, looking to the media to say, hey, I wonder how they're coping out there. What do they think as far as why Kamala Harris lost?
Why didn't this work? We're still unpacking what exactly happened.
Some of this is pure racism and misogyny.
White supremacist ideology. Uneducated white women. Nostalgia for a past that didn't exist.
The headwinds of the economy.
Misinformation. The patriarchy.
The American people have given up on democracy.
Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
How much of this is just old-fashioned sexism? How much of this is just old-fashioned misogyny?
It's misogyny from Hispanic men. It's misogyny from black men.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It goes on for another minute of more of the same. They haven't figured this out yet. They keep doing it. I wonder when they're going to stop doing it. Probably never. But the late night hosts, look, at least you can always lean into the late night hosts to get a laugh. Because sometimes, you just want to shake off the day. You've had a rough day. Maybe it's at work, or maybe, I don't know, the kids are getting a little crazy, a little rowdy. And you just, oh, man, good thing the late night hosts are there to cheer us up. Like Jimmy Kimmel, bringing us some laughs.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night
for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
That's not funny. Yeah, it's not funny. It didn't get much better than that, especially when he started crying.
For healthcare.
Why are you? He's crying. Jimmy Kimmel's like, literally, he's crying.
For our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Wow. Is there anything? Is there anything good at all? So there's Jimmy Kimmel, who was crying. You know, he really, it's a there's something not right if you're that emotional about losing an election because you really think that all the things that you described that are going to be hurt or destroyed that weren't 4 years ago somehow all of a sudden are. I can't. Well, let's go to Stephen Colbert. I mean, he's a funny guy. I need the last. Come on.
So many of us wish this hadn't happened, but that is not for us to decide. This is a democracy. That's democracy with a capital duh. And in this democracy, the majority has spoken, and they said they don't care that much about democracy.
The democracy spoke up, and they said they don't care that much about democracy. Well, number one, we're a constitutional republic. I don't know, like, people argue about this all the time. Is it constitutional republic? No, it's a democracy. Okay, anyway, the people spoke up. And I think there was a resounding answer to the question of what we should do next. I think there was a resounding answer to the question of, hey, you can't keep calling me every Istanobia in the book because I'm not. And I do want things to get better. And I do care about all the things that Jimmy Kimmel was talking about that are going to be destroyed. I got an opposite opinion on that. I think they're going to get better because they're not doing so well with you. I mean, the crying. And there's a very serious, I mean, I don't want to be too serious, but with all of that, there is something that has to be discussed. We really got to talk about this. And maybe you want to talk about it. You can call 866-588-8303 because maybe you have a thought on why this is happening. I have my own thought. You know, you got these people on social media who are saying some of the most ridiculous things, vile things. Some of them are speaking up about the way that they feel and maybe shouldn't. The assistant director for fraternity and sorority life at the University of Oregon says,
I'm done crying. My sadness is over. My anger has set in. I am a very petty person, and I am very proud of that. Love it about myself, actually. And so I say this in the most disrespectful way possible. I don't care if you are my family. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if we've been friends our entire lives. You can literally go...
Nope. Nope. I can't play the rest. And most of the people on TikTok I can't play either. And that's where that came from. Libs at TikTok had that up on her account. That's the assistant director for fraternity and sorority life at the University of Oregon. What's going on here? Like, I don't care if you're my family. It goes on to say some other things. And again, I can't repeat it. Can't play it on the air. I wouldn't repeat it to my friends or family, what was said. All right, now, this is where it gets serious because it really is a question that we have to ask. This is serious. I'm clapping my hands again. This is serious. Why do I do that? Sometimes I shouldn't do that. But this is a very serious question. Again, here you have a young lady who's in her car, who clearly is upset.
I was just walking down the street to go get my medication because I'm out and I need it for today. And I saw a woman walking her 2 kids, and she had this look on her face. And I looked at her, we made eye contact, and we both kind of nodded. Like we were both just devastated. And you could just tell in her eyes.
I mean, she can't speak.
I can't believe this country did this again.
Look, there are some people that would play that and laugh at that. But I can't do it anymore. When I hear that, it hurts my heart. It makes me sad. Because somebody did this to this child. So there's only a couple of choices here. And if we're going to be honest and real, and that's what I do here, and if you disagree with me, you can message, you can call at FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble X. Love to hear your thoughts. If you want to message or you want to call, 866-588-8303. And it's this. That's sad. It can only be a couple of things here. Either this child, somebody's child, has really, truly has mental health issues. And there's going to be a mental health crisis across this country. A crisis because children like this girl doesn't know what to do now. And then you step back and say, doesn't know what to do about what? What's your suggestion about the thing that you need to do in order to fix what has happened to Donald Trump presidency? And that takes us to the second thing, which is somebody put in this child the idea that the most awful, horrific thing is about to happen to her personally in her life in a very short order because of the election of Donald Trump. Who would put that in her head? Who would put that in her head? You know the answer. And then you have to ask yourself, combine the two. And there's a lot out there. Combine the two. Kids, young people, adults, who are not stable in their own right, and there are people who are not. And then you put into their heads over and over and over and over again for over 10 years that if this person is the president of the United States, that your life is over, that this country is gone, that the things you love will be destroyed. And you keep drilling that into... My heart hurts for that child. My heart hurts for these people who are doing this, who would give up on family and friends because of an election. And it's just, it's a sorry state of affairs that we are in some cases when it comes to this. But then you have to be honest about why it's happening. And if you can't be honest about why this is taking place, then is there really any hope for you? Like, if you keep going to the same outlets that keep lying and talking about the same things and keep bringing up the same issues and keep pushing in your face the lies.
People in this country yet believe in the full equality of women.
Among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny.
Might be race issues.
Just keeps going on and on. The lies and then the hurtful things that you would say. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I hope that there is a way that we can get away from this. I hope there's a way that we can stop this, and I hope there's a way to recognize the mental health crisis that's about to be upon us, that it already clearly is upon us. And what do we do? What do we do? All right, a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Headlines that are in the news, getting from the Florida's Voice newsroom. Nina's doing some great work along with Big D, feeding me some very important information on a couple of things. Number one, Eric Doherty, who's also in the Florida's Voice newsroom. Pennsylvania Republicans won every statewide election in 24. President, Senate, Attorney General, Auditor General, Treasurer. Whoa. How about that? That was big. Wonder why. So all of those people in all of those counties in that state of Pennsylvania, boy, they must be, filling every Istanobi in the book. Not so, but somebody thinks so. Also, Eric says that the markets have closed another record high on the second day of the Trump victory. I guess that's what happens with fascism. Yeah, it really probably doesn't do. Brendan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice, mentioned that there was a big McCormick win. That's the one we just mentioned in Pennsylvania in the Senate race. So now another seat has flipped. 53 Republicans. They've flipped 4 seats the Republicans have in the Senate and balance of power. Nice. Nice. Also, some other things that have been talked about. I love that there are going to be nominations of people that I think within the Trump cabinet that are going to be special, that are going to be awesome, that are going to be people that, unlike in 2016, are really going to have the president's back, are going to understand exactly what it is that needs to get done, and are going to be ready to move things forward. For example, Senator Marco Rubio said today that he hasn't ruled out a cabinet position in the Trump administration. Boy, can you imagine? I mean, that's going to change a lot of things here in the state. If Marco Rubio decides to take a cabinet position, then the governor gets the opportunity to appoint that seat. So that'll be interesting to see the dynamic. What's going to happen here in the state if that happens? Who will be that person? He also said that he's made clear he'd be ready to serve in any capacity that the president-elect would like in the new administration. Our good friend, who we will have on this program, I've had him on many times. He's a good friend, the former Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General under Donald Trump, Matt Whitaker, being considered for Attorney General. Senator Eric Schmidt out of Missouri, both under consideration, and good people. Also, did he say this? He did. So, so as he left court on a defamation trial there in Manhattan, Rudy Giuliani said he was open to serving in the new Trump administration. Come on. So that's out there as well. And not just that, but I know you probably heard about this already, that the governor has made mention, and Florida's Voice has the story, that Joseph Ladapo has been pitched by the governor to the future Trump administration as the HHS secretary. Governor DeSantis has pitched an idea for President-elect Trump's Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services director. That would be Dr. Joseph Ladapo. He was tapped for the Florida position by DeSantis in 2021. And, you know, one of the things that I love about him, and by the way, Big D, a reminder, let's see if we can get him on the program. I would love to get him on here. All right, so sure. make a note of that. One of the things that I loved is that even in September of 21, when he was brought in here to the state as the Surgeon General of Florida, there were realities that he knew needed to be addressed. And where some on the left would say that his positions were kind of radical. You know, he was dubbed a quack by Democrats because he was, as was described in the article in Florida's Voice, bucking the mainstream medical beliefs, like the vax and the World Health Organization. But he did say something when he was brought in. And again, right out of the gate. And I don't know how you argue with this point. So here he is. It's the press conference. The governor is introducing Joseph Ladapo to the position of the Surgeon General of the state of Florida. I want you to listen to what he says.
Florida will completely reject fear as a way of making policies.
Now, let me remind you. Let me start again, but I just want to remind you, this is September of 2021. Think about where we are as a state. Think about where we are as a country in that time period, September 2021. Go ahead.
Florida will completely reject fear as a way of making policies in public health. So we're done with fear. That's been something that's been, unfortunately, a centerpiece of health policy in the United States ever since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's over here. Expiration date, it's done. So we're compassionate. We get it. You know, there's scary things. We've seen a lot of fear from COVID over the past year and a half, and it's very understandable. But the way to approach that is not from a place of fear, because it doesn't lead to good decisions.
Spot on. And think about, I don't know if you'd call it bravery, boldness. I don't know what you would call it. Honesty, reality in that moment. Again, it's 2021. It's the state of Florida, and obviously the free state of Florida, and everybody coming here because of the policies that the governor and the legislature were putting together, and the good things that were going on at that time that were unlike things that were happening outside of the state. You lived through it, you know what I'm talking about. And there he is, and say, look, we're going to reject fear. We're not going to do this. We're going to be examining scientifically everything that's going on with the jab. We're going to examine everything that's going on with the vid. We're going to examine everything that's going on and being talked about outside of these walls and outside of this state and outside of this country. And some of the things that the World Health Organization and others are demanding around the globe that we're not just going to step up and do. We're going to examine and see whether it's best for the people of the state of Florida. And the thing that he said at the end is so important.
But the way to approach that is not from a place of fear, because it doesn't lead to good decisions.
It doesn't lead to good decisions. When has starting at a place of fear ever led to a good decision? In science, it certainly doesn't. At that moment in time, if you can relive that, it didn't. He knew that. He knew that at the time. He still knows it now. But that would be fantastic. And that's a lot of what we've been getting lately. A lot of what we will get. And I know, again, the people that have been talked about, the multitude of cabinet members being floated around, pretty strong choices. Susie Wiles, who was running and helping with the Trump campaign, did a fantastic job. I think she was being discussed as a chief of staff. Rick Grinnell, who is incredible at intelligence, D&I, and someone who doesn't put up with any tough as nails, and cares deeply about the safety and security of the country, would be a great choice in any position, Rick Grinnell. Maybe back in the same position. Marco Rubio, like we discussed. I think Vivek Ramaswamy was somebody that has been discussed as well. And Doug Burgum, Elon Musk, RFK Jr. I mean, you think about some of the people that Trump is looking at, or with people that are being presented to him as possible cabinet members or advisors, and you really do get the impression that things are going to go really well, as long as Democrats don't get in the way. By the way, was this earlier today? Yeah, this was. So Trump's in Asheboro, North Carolina. Just a reminder of some of what you can expect coming up. See if we can play this clip.
Ask for the resignations of every single senior military official who touched the Afghanistan disaster. I want their resignations immediately.
Right. Yeah, Trump, who was in Asheboro, North Carolina at the time, during the campaign, and when he was there and speaking to the crowd, making sure that you understand that he wants resignations of military leaders involved with the Afghanistan withdrawal on his desk on day one. That's just part of what you will see, and part of the things that need to happen right away. And that's going to freak the left out. They're going to stomp their feet. They're going to scream and yell about it in the halls of Congress. But is he wrong to do that?
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipton Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on, and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with a game-changing offer for those ready to master their retirement journey. Look, we're going to navigate unpredictable waters in 24. An election year marked by financial uncertainty. It's crucial. You've got to have expert guidance. That's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. The Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional. Alfie brings unparalleled experience and insight to the table. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, it's not just a guide. It's your strategic compass for navigating the financial seas with confidence. Look, with decades of experience, Alfie has created a powerful roadmap. It'll help you chart your course and make meaningful waves in your retirement. And for a limited time, you can get your hands on this book free. That's right, no cost. The book is more than just a collection of stories. It's a blueprint for achieving a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. So don't miss out. Text book to 239-747-1080 right now. It's book to 239-747-1080 and claim your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently steer towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to watch the program, you can go to FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, or X, at FL Voice News, and you can watch this very program happening right before your very eyes. I said very twice. Very good. All right, we move on. Time for the top 5 audio clips of the day. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
The Trump transition has what it needs, which is being led, obviously, by our chief of staff here. Why? Because the president wants to lead by example. It's not complicated. It really isn't. And, you know, that's important.
Example is the message to people who are fearful based on what the messaging was about the state.
Well, now you're just twisting everything around, and that's really unfair. No, it is. No, Jackie, it's unfair because I've been standing here trying to be very respectful to what happened the last 2 nights.
Okay, so there was a little debate between Fox News reporter and Corinne Jean-Pierre about how the press, how the White House has been portraying Donald Trump and a Donald Trump victory and, you know, fascism and all these horrible words. And when called out on it, Corinne Jean-Pierre is like, I don't appreciate you twisting my words around. It's not fair. Just go back to the tape. You said it. It wasn't fair to the country.
Number 4.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. So we need to take some lessons.
That's what that was.
It was racism and sexism is the reason why Latinos, 75% and a 97% Latino district in Texas chose Donald Trump to be the president of the United States. It was misogyny, it was racism, it was sexism, anything, homophobia. I don't know what else you want to throw in there. It was maybe arachnophobia as a fear of spiders. I mean, I don't know. It could have been any kind of hysterobia. I mean, just throw them all in there.
Number 3.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
No, it was a great night for me. Yeah, but can he hold it together? Is he okay? Somebody's got to. That's Jimmy Kimmel last night, and somebody's got to do something with that guy. I mean, for him. I mean, the breaking down of all of those different issues and saying how all of those people are going to be hurt because just they're They're not getting it, are they? It's not clicking for them at all.
Number 2.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives. We cannot give up. We now find ourselves in a time in history that has precedent, and we find ourselves, I believe, in a time where there are, let's say, peers in history of mass movements of people that mobilize to protect one another in times of fascism and authoritarianism. And this is the era that we are poised to enter.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez during the election cycle. I think that was a couple of months ago when she was talking about fascism and Trump if elected and the fear of fascism. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a second. No, that was today. That was AOC today, who was still telling people on her social media sites that we have to be worried about this time of fashion. They're just not getting it, are they?
Number 1.
Much of the work we've done is already being felt by the American people, but the vast majority of it will not be felt over the next 10 years. We have legislation we passed. It's just only now just really kicking in.
Oh, okay. So that was Joe Biden today in the Rose Garden, who wanted to let people know that, listen, that things haven't kicked in yet. And 10 years from now, don't you worry about it. That's when things are going to kick in and everybody will be able to pat Joe Biden on the back. Well, I mean, 10 years from now, they probably won't be able to. But anyway, the point is that it's Joe Biden. That anything good that comes in the future is going to be because of Joe Biden. What?
Drew's top 5.
He didn't really that's not what he was thinking, was he? Is that what he? It's kind of sort of what he said. I mean, some of the other things he talked about today, simple stuff, as he's in the Rose Garden with all of his people in the cabinet and the people that love him and all these friendly faces.
Over 200 years,
yeah,
America has carried on the greatest experiment in self-government in the history of the world.
And he would know because he was there.
And that's not hyperbole. That's a fact.
I know it is.
We're the people. The people vote and choose their own leaders, and they do it peacefully. And we're in a democracy. The will of the people always prevails.
Yeah, I mean, it does always prevail, the will of the people. There's sometimes when you kind of question if everything went the way we thought it was going to go when it comes to the will of the people, though. I mean, look, I hate to open up a sore wound or a sore point or a wounded point of soreness. I don't know exactly how to say this, but there have been questions about 14 million people. Big D probably remembers at the very, 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 very beginning of this program today, I told him to take the 14 million number and tuck it away, put it away in his quiver, tuck it away in his pocket. And he actually made this really cool sound effect of him tucking away 14 million, the number. And when I said it, I said, all right, Big D, tuck it away, 14 million. Go ahead, give me the sound effect of you tucking away the idea of 14 million people. And it sounded like this. No, it sounded like this. Go ahead. Do it again. You're not going to do it because you're mad at me, aren't you? Are you mad at me because earlier today I made fun of you on it? Is that why you're not doing it?
Listen,
I mean,
I've done the dings. I thought I satisfied your needing of me giving sound effects for the day, so I thought I'd give this one a break.
No, you haven't. The dings, by the way, earlier in the show, in case you're missing, this is why you got to go back. You got to watch on YouTube, Rumble, or X. Don't miss the show, FL Voice News. You get to hear the amazing D doing his sound effects. Earlier, I made him do a bunch of dings. It was hysterical, funny, and I can't wait to play it for my wife later. And I asked him to do the sound effect now, and he won't do it because he's pouting. Are you pouting? You're not pouting, are you? Because I made you do those things and you didn't want to? And I'm
not pouting. I'm just politely declining to do it another time.
Okay, he's going to politely. All right, that's true. 14 million people. There are questions as to how it's possible that in 2012, Barack Obama had about 63 million people voting for him. In 2016, the popular vote, Hillary Clinton had about 66 million people. In 2024, Kamala Harris had about 66 million, something to that effect, or less. In 2020, Joe Biden had 81 million people. People are talking about the difference of 14 million people. Where did those 14 million, 18 million, how many million people? I say 14 million because they mentioned it this morning on MSNBC.
Kamala Harris received about 14 million fewer votes than Joe Biden did 4 years ago. That is a staggering number. And they have a lot of figuring out to do. And
oh, yeah, they have a lot of figuring out to do. We have a lot of figuring out to do, like legitimate questions. So she got 14 million fewer votes than Joe Biden got in 2020. Then again, follow the timeline. 66 million, 67 million, 81 million, 65 million. Something to that effect. Donald Trump had 71 million votes. Joe Biden had 81 million votes. There's 14 million votes that are missing between 2020 and 2024. That's nothing. It's not. Just ignore it. Forget it. It's fine. There's nothing to see. You're moving along. Don't have that brain of yours start to mobilize there, because there's absolutely nothing. I should play the transition music. We got to get away from this. Yeah. So there's that. Oh my. All right. Are there other things that we can keep an eye on? We know that in the race for Senate GOP leader, Florida Senator Rick Scott is working to earn the support of President-elect Trump. There has been talk about whether or not he could get that support. As we played the audio yesterday, and he was talking about how he would like to be the Senate Majority Leader. It would be an awesome thing if he were. And he is obviously pitching for it. Many people would like to see him in that post. It would be fantastic. I know I talked yesterday about trying to get Kash Patel on this program. Busy guy. But Kash Patel saying today that he believes that not only should there be a clearing of the House, in other words, not the House of Representatives, but the clearing of the House, quote unquote, so to speak. In other words, the people that are there in the bureaucracy in the government, that there should be a clearinghouse of the clearinghouse. There are people that maybe shouldn't have the positions that they have right now, shouldn't have a job. Just like the audio we played during the campaign when Donald Trump was talking about all the leaders in the military that got us into the Afghanistan disaster and everything we witnessed. Yeah, they should all be fired, right? I mean, why do they still have a gig? Well, he also said, Kash Patel, not just that, but he called for massive declassification from the Trump administration, including the Epstein list and some other things as well. Whoa. I wonder if people would cry about that. I wonder if people, knowing that Donald Trump's going to be the president of the United States and there would be the declassification of certain things, might cry, be upset, not because they fear for the future of the country. Maybe they fear for the future of their, well, somebody suggested maybe they fear the future of their freedom. I don't want to go there necessarily, but some people texted me that, and okay, everybody's allowed to an opinion. You have one. Even Democrats have them. Usually they're wrong, but they're there anyway. Oh, and also this little nugget, as we talked about earlier. A lot of things have happened since Donald Trump has become the president-elect. Not even 2 days in, and here we are. Hamas has called for an end to the war in the Middle East. The Iran-backed Houthis announced a ceasefire, and Putin says he wants to work towards peace. The peace thing is interesting to me because I still don't understand why it is that there has not been any talk of peace between Ukraine and Russia during the war. Where are the world leaders demanding there be peace? Where have the peace talks been? There have been none, zero, zilch. Now, early on, there was talk, very, very early on, of peace. And as some people have described, Boris Johnson at the time, UK, put the kibosh on that, stopped that from even moving forward. The question is why? Who would make that suggestion? Who would help him to make a suggestion to say that we should keep this going on? Because I thought that people were looking for peace. I know certainly by the way the turnout was with Republicans and voting for Donald Trump as president of the United States, who has been talking about peace around the world and the peace that he had and the peace that he would like to see, that people voted for that. Why isn't anybody else doing that? Like, why hasn't there been? That doesn't seem in the least bit odd to anyone at all. To me, it's crazy. But that's out there. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back in just a second. This is Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm 95. I'll be 96 in January. We always played whatever the kids wanted to do. I've played basketball, football, you name it. I know one thing, you need to keep moving. I don't sit in front of the television in the daytime.
All right, so that is a 95-year-old named Lois White. She's from Kansas, and she refuses to slow down even as she's approaching the century mark. Her advice to people younger than her is to keep moving. And one of the things that she is doing right now that she is crediting her life to, as far as exercising and keeping moving, I'm gonna give Big D a chance without even knowing what it is that she does. I'll bet you he can guess right off the top of your head, Big D. Now listen, you got a 95-year-old. She's moving around. She keeps moving. If you had to pick one sport without me even telling you what it is, what do you think is the one sport that she's doing that she's absolutely addicted to that is helping her to move? You know it. You know what it is. Say it. You know it.
How am I supposed to know this?
You come with this up. All right. Think about it. She's 95. It's a hot sport right now. It keeps her moving. Every age. That's it. You see, I knew you could do it.
There we go.
Yes. Pickleball. People are pickle crazy. Pickleball crazy. Not pickle crazy. I don't think they are pickle crazy. They should be. Pickles are awesome. But pickleball, they're I'm assuming that the name pickleball comes. They call it pickleball because it goes because of the noise that it makes. I never figured out why they call it. There's a reason why they call it pickleball. And I don't know what it is, and I don't think you do either. But pickleball is like the sport. Like everybody plays it. It's you can't drive through an HOA community in the state of Florida without hearing. To be quite honest, and you know it's true. Everybody listening to the sound of my voice across the state here in Florida, it is absolutely true. It's all over the place. Have you ever played, Big D? Have you ever played pickleball? I have not.
I have not played. I played tennis my entire life, and I believe that pickleball would be something I would excel at. I just haven't found the right group of people to play with.
There you go. And it feels like pickleball would be a sport that you can play where, maybe you don't have it. The skill level doesn't really matter too much.
If a 95-year-old is playing, I should be able to pick it up quite fast.
That's right. There you go. Pickleball. If Lois can play it, so can you. That's the slogan for the day. I don't know. Maybe I'll get out there. I'm not going to get out there and play. I'm kidding. You got to move. I don't want to move around. I kind of like lounging. Anyway, all right. This breaking news. Is this breaking news? I guess it's kind of breaking news. Man, I need a better breaking news sounder. How about this? Breaking news.
Fat and sassy.
Should I make that the breaking news sounder? I don't know. I'll come up with one. Anyway, Eric Doherty in the Florida's Voice newsroom says that Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is celebrating Susie Wiles as Trump's chief of staff. Quote, "This is great news. Susie was a huge asset to President Trump on the campaign and will be a huge asset in the White House. She's also just a really good person. Onward." That's what he said. I didn't say that. It's in the X with the tweet, wherever you say. So that just in to the Florida's Voice newsroom, Susie Wiles will be Trump's chief of staff, and I'm sure probably tomorrow, and it's going to come fast, I'll bet, some of the other cabinet picks on the way. Excited about it. All right, listen, have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. Don't forget at FL Voice News if you want to watch.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love.
And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right, once again, hope you have a great day. If you want to watch, at FLVoiceNews.com, on YouTube, on Rumble, on X. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. This is Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.